This is my car. It is from the year 2000. It has 175,000 kilometers on the meter and has let me down only once in 13 years. And it was a simple thing, it was a blown fuse which cost me 50 euros or something. The repair costs of this thing were probably 3,000 euros in those 13 years. While my friend has a 5-year-old Ford and she spent 3,000 euros alone last year on that car and 1,000 euros in repairs the year before that. Is it just me or are things getting worse and we end up paying more for it? But why? Well, there are a couple of reasons why this is happening. The first one is price perception. When you hear $500 for an iPhone in 2008, you still think that that $500 is still $500. While it is not, because that same $500 is now almost $800 adjusted for inflation. We had a very steep inflation over the last couple of years and you get way less for the same dollar nowadays. But we also shouldn't forget that CEOs must drive a big car, and preferably multiple big cars. According to CNBC's, CEOs earn 1,000% more since 1978. The inflation was only 500%. CEOs took home an average of $23 million in 2024. And I'm not exactly under the impression that CEOs run their companies twice as good nowadays. In fact, I think it's the opposite. When companies become publicly traded companies, the people who you build your business on, your customers, are not important anymore. From that moment on, only investors are important. And the only thing that investors are interested in is dollar signs. Cutting costs, maximizing profits, rapid returns, and growth. And every year the growth has to be bigger and better than last year. No growth, bad company. But that leads to companies making short-term and short-sighted decisions. Everything is ran on numbers in spreadsheets. Not people. The human aspect and the soul which made the company grow in the first place is completely gone. That customers puke on your company doesn't matter anymore as long as they keep paying. And shitify until it starts to hit the bottom line. If an investor likes something, that should set some alarm bells off in your mind as a customer. Because you're not the first on the priority list of the company, you're last. Adobe is a great example of this, because they didn't think long term. After Adobe switched to monthly subscriptions in 2011, they made millions and millions. Every year was financially better than the last. Infinite growth. Adobe didn't innovate and their products were buggy. And Adobe's stock price started to fall. Why? Well, customer sentiment has shifted. Customers started to get fed up with the certification to the max strategy and got tired of paying for it. Going away from Adobe has become a trend on YouTube. Competitors started to notice and jumped in. And the alternatives are extremely good and in many ways even better than the original. DaVinci Resolve for Premiere and Affinity Photo for Photoshop. The primary goal of these competitors was to make a great product by innovating and making it more stable. For Adobe, the scale has started to tip in the reverse direction. They've gone too far by sucking the soul out of the company. Many companies yet did not reach that certification tipping point or are smart enough to not let it reach that tipping point. Every company wants to have your data nowadays. They spy on you with everything you do, invading your privacy, so they can sell your data to data brokers, the government, or use it for ads. Because everything nowadays needs ads, even when you've paid for the product. And if it has a lot of ads, it needs more ads. YouTube now serves 90-second ads, and their ad revenue has skyrocketed over the last few years. Windows XP was a great operating system. Now we have Windows 11. I point here, but that's Linux. Everything we do or say is recorded and screen captured by Copilot and sent to Microsoft. Now we are served ads in our own operating system we paid for. Your own computer you bought and paid for now looks like a scam website. When I search for something on Google, I get ads, I get products, I get AI hallucinations, I get videos, I get people also ask. When I'm lucky, I get some search results somewhere at the bottom. In an absolute race to the bottom, companies fall over each other to offer you the latest, completely useless AI features. When Google unveiled Android 17, it was chock full of useless AI features. But the company running the largest search engine in the world can't fix Google search, and it can't fix searching in the settings of Android. But yet it offers a way to scan a leaflet to get travel recommendations. Microsoft has integrated AI into Paint and Notepad. Why? Also here, Microsoft running Bing, a search engine, can't fix searching for a program or a file in Windows. And when I type something into Google, the AI starts to hallucinate an answer. When I type something into ChatGPT, it hallucinates an answer. According to OpenAI's own research, their ChatGPT 5 chatbot has an accuracy rate of 22%. In other words, it's wrong almost 80% of the time. And why is everything ran in the cloud instead of locally? Because then you can spy on people, then you can sell their data to show them ads. Thus far, I have yet to find a useful feature that actually works and is reliable. The combination of useful, working and reliable simply does not exist when it comes to AI. And then, the infinite money glitch, the tax on the stupid and the poor, the investor's wet dream, subscriptions. The problem with subscriptions is that it shifts the focus of the company making the product. When you make a new version of a product, you have to sell that new version to your customers because you want them to upgrade so you can get their money. But customers only buy the product when it's good. They only buy the update when it's good. When reviews are good, when the features are useful, they buy it. So the company is incentivized to make better products. But with a subscription model, the goal is not to make good products, the goal is to keep the customer in the door. For example, by making sure that you can't leave. Let's take Adobe again as an example. Adobe had ridiculous cancellation fees. Adobe does not have to innovate to create better products. As long as customers keep paying for a product, everything is fine. Subscriptions are basically an extortion fee. They hold functionality of your own data hostage, so you can't access your own data. They basically claim ownership on data that is still legally yours, but somehow you have to pay a ransom to access it. The CEO of Blackmagic, the maker of Adobe's competitor DaVinci Resolve, said the following: "I don't like the cloud model because it basically penalizes people for being loyal. If you have to pay for a cloud license, you gotta pay. You are essentially renting your software. If you don't keep paying every month, the software shuts down and you basically can't open your projects." A subscription is a never-ending money pit where you shovel money into every single month for the rest of your life without seeing any value in return. And that is exactly why investors like it, because it's the infinite money glitch. I would like to challenge you to make a list of the subscriptions you have and their non-subscription counterparts. In one column you write what you spent on a product in 10 years with a subscription, and then the other column what you spent on a one-time fee alternative. Now you sum up the totals of both columns and subtract the two. Now look at how much money you flushed down the toilet, how much money you will never see back. How many fun things you can do for that money with everlasting memories, or even something physical that still works after 10 years without paying for it. With one-time purchases, you actually get some value for your money of a company that actually cares. That's freedom. Sorry, I had to switch microphone because the batteries in my cordless microphone died. So, back to the video. Running a business in the 30s, 60s and 80s was an honor. You treated every customer like a king. But that sentiment has completely shifted to the art of how much shit you can get away with. Try to find a phone number on the website of a company nowadays. You can't, and especially with American companies. How dare you to ask questions? How dare you to ask support for something you paid for? What kind of a degenerate are you? Businesses don't want to put in the effort anymore. As long as customers keep paying, it's all fine. I heard a quote once that perfectly captures the current sentiment in doing business. Corporations act like they're mad that they have to go through you to get your money. But there is actually something you can do. Vote with your wallet. I personally don't understand why people keep paying for product with subscriptions. I've done away with subscriptions entirely. If it's a subscription, I don't want it. I only use the bare essentials necessary for survival, like water and electricity, on a subscription. I do pay for stuff like, for example, DaVinci Resolve. I also paid for Affinity Photo when it wasn't free yet. But also choose the companies you do business with carefully. Do some research for once. Otherwise you'll end up with products that don't